Carlos Yulo, Alex Eala share PSA Athletes of the Year award. Two-time Olympic gold medalist Carlos Yulo and tennis phenom Alexander Alex Eala have been named Male and Female Athletes of the Year by the Philippine Sports Writers Association, PSA. It is the first time in 22 years the PSA has named co-athletes of the year since boxing legend Manny Pacquiao and golfer Jennifer Rosales in 2004. The PSA Awards night will be on February 16th. The 25-year-old Yulo receives the Athlete of the Year award for the second straight year, and Eala for the first time. After Yulo's historic double in the 2024 Paris Olympics, the gymnast flaunted his form once more in the 2025 Asian Artistic Gymnastics Championships in South Korea, clinching his fourth straight gold medal in the floor exercise and taking bronze medals in the parallel bars, vault, and individual all-around events. Yulo made a comeback in the 53rd FIG Artistic Gymnastics World Championships in Indonesia, and taking the gold in the vault and a bronze in the floor exercise. Just 20 years old, Eala has established herself as one of the rising stars in women's tennis. The first Filipina to join the world's top 50 women's players as ranked by the Women's Tennis Association, WTA. She is currently ranked 49th after beating Donna Vekic in the 2026 ASB Classic in Auckland, New Zealand, this month. Eala made a spectacular run at the Miami Open, where she entered the WTA 1000 event as a wild card ranked number 140. She introduced herself in the tennis world in a dominant fashion after defeating former French Open champion Jelena Ostapenko in the second round, reigning Australian Open champion and world number 5 Madison Keys in the third round, and five-time Grand Slam champion and world number 2 Iga Swiatek in the quarterfinals. Her run ended in the semifinals with a loss to American Jessica Pegula. Eala went on to become the first Filipino in the Open era to compete in the Wimbledon singles main draw, won her first WTA singles title at the Guadalajara 125 Open in Mexico, and achieved another milestone by becoming the first Filipino in the Open era to win a singles match at the U.S. Open after defeating 14th seed Clara Tauson. Eala ended the 22-year wait for the nation in the Southeast Asian Games in Thailand after winning the women's singles gold medal. Their exemplary performances on the international stage, and more importantly, the way they have inspired countless young athletes to chase their own path for greatness, are enough reasons to crown both Alex and Carlos as the year's top performers in sports, said PSA President Francis Ochoa, sports editor of the Philippine Daily Inquirer. In a year when noise competed for attention and speed tried to outrun meaning, two athletes reminded the nation that excellence is not loud, it is precise. Carlos Yulo, who bends gravity to his will, and Alex Eala, who turns quiet persistence into thunder from the baseline, stood side by side as recipients of the PSA Athletes of the Year award. Their sports could not be more different, one measured in explosive seconds, the other unfolding across long rallies, but their stories rhyme in a language Filipinos know by heart: sacrifice, discipline, and belief. Carlos Yulo's arena is a narrow strip of floor and a set of bars that ask for nothing less than perfection. In gymnastics, the margin between glory and heartbreak is the width of a toe landing a fraction too wide, a breath held too long. Yet Yulo thrives there, where gravity tests character. Each routine is a conversation with physics, twists that defy expectation, landings that hush the crowd before it erupts. He is small in stature, yet monumental in presence. When he takes flight, the world seems to tilt toward him, as if acknowledging a truth long known. Greatness is not measured in size, but in courage repeated daily. Alex Eala's stage is a rectangle of green, blue, or red, where patience is a virtue and stamina is a promise kept. Tennis demands solitude even amid applause. Between points, there's only the player, the racket, and the mind. Eala grew up learning to listen to that silence, to trust the long road rather than the shortcut. Each match is a story told in chapters, momentum gained, lost, and reclaimed. She does not merely hit a ball. She builds pressure, constructs angles, and waits for opportunity like a chess player who understands that time is an ally. What binds Yulo and Eala is not just their medals or milestones, but the way they represent a generation of Filipino athletes unafraid to dream globally while remaining rooted at home. Their journeys are marked by early mornings and late nights, by coaches who demanded more, and by families who believed even when belief was expensive. They left familiar comforts to train abroad, carrying the weight of expectation lightly but purposefully. In doing so, they transformed pressure into fuel. The PSA Athletes of the Year award is often described as a celebration of achievement, but in honoring Yulo and Eala together, it becomes something more, a recognition of balance. Yulo's performances are bursts of brilliance, moments that compress years of training into seconds of awe. Eala's victories are marathons of will, unfolding across hours where resilience matters as much as skill. Together, they show that excellence has many tempos. Sometimes it sprints, sometimes it endures. There is also symbolism in their youth. They are not the end of a story but the beginning of one. In gyms and courts across the country, children watch them and imagine new possibilities. A young gymnast learns to trust her landing because Yulo once did. A budding tennis player learns to fight through a third set because Eala once refused to quit. Role models are not perfect, they are persistent. And persistence, when made visible, multiplies. Beyond technique and trophies, both athletes carry themselves with a quiet humility that resonates deeply. Yulo's celebrations are joyful but grounded, as if he knows the next routine will demand the same honesty as the last. Eala speaks of growth more than glory, of learning curves rather than finish lines. This humility does not diminish their ambition, it sharpens it. It keeps the focus on process, the only place where true mastery lives. Their shared recognition also speaks to the evolving landscape of Philippine sports. It signals faith in systems that nurture talent early, invest patiently, and measure success beyond immediate returns. It acknowledges that greatness can emerge from any corner when opportunity meets preparation. In honoring a gymnast and a tennis player together, the award celebrates diversity of discipline and unity of purpose. Perhaps the most powerful image is not of medals raised or trophies held, but of two athletes mid-action. Yulo suspended in air, time paused. Eala set in a rally, eyes steady, feet alive. In those moments, they are not just competing, they are communicating. They tell us that limits are negotiable, that excellence is built one repetition at a time, and that representing a nation is less about carrying a flag than about carrying values. As the applause fades and the lights dim, Yulo will return to the gym, chalking his hands for another conversation with gravity. Eala will step back onto the court, bouncing the ball, listening to the rhythm of her breath. The award will rest on a shelf, but its meaning will travel with them, in the discipline of tomorrow's training, in the courage,